riding my bicycle around New York City at 3:30 in the morning in the rain crying. I am about to bawl my eyes out. All these emotions tucked inside, they need to find a way out. How did we become a society where we can walk past a man sleeping in a wet street, never asking ourselves twice, how did this come to be? Or what if this was me, we just walk by? Walk by. Over and over again, we pass an eye to the world outside of ourselves, thinking that if we put our hand out to lift our sister out, there'll be nothing left for ourselves. But that's the only way out. For her, for you, or for me, I don't get why I'm the weird girl. I'm crazy because I fight for my dreams. Well, that's right, that's me. But don't think I don't bleed. My youngest memory is my dad trying to burn my skin off with hot water. I lived a life with a mother who told me she wished I wasn't her daughter. I woke up next to my dead uncle. Heroin was his slaughter. My older sister, my hero, in the emergency room twice. She almost lost her life. Cooked cocaine was her game, and now my nephew's left with a mother who's cooked her brain. So what if it's true? I walk around trying to love you because I want you to love me, and you don't get the fucking message, so I have to play it on repeat. With my chin up, I smile at a hungry world that wants to swallow me for every penny of passion I have, chew me up and spit me out like I'm some kind of clown. But the spirit inside me won't let me stay down. I fall off the boat, my lungs fill up with water, and I am about to drown. Until the last second, the sound of hope is found and resounds in a picture of an 8-year-old girl named Regina, who slept on a cement floor with rats. She was surrounded by thieves and held down by illiteracy, but Regina still believed, and she looked at me, and I knew that she would make it. So I walk around this world fucking naked, showing my most vulnerable parts, hoping to stir your heart, to shake you up, Mr. Numb. I don't blame you because you have become what everybody else here has become. Marching to the beat of the American dream drum, except for you failed to realize it's in America where people commit suicide. It's in America where people pop pills to get through life. Is that home where no one's ever home? Is that ring or vacation or the opinion of that other dissatisfied family really what makes you wake up every single motherfucking day and go to that job that you hate and I'm crazy? Well, crazy is what crazy does, and this crazy thinks that I can love ignorance, hate, and hurt away in the way that I live day to day. I am going to dance the world's sadness away. Or at least I'll put a smile on your face. Standing like a fool in the middle of the street, I sing, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Bop, 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 this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Woo! I am going to break in and liberate you from the chains that our culture has taught you to wear so well. What if one by one we let our Berlin Walls crash down and we walked around with our frowns turned the other way around and we looked into each other's eyes? To see the fire that burns inside, we are not enemies. We are not different political parties. We are not our parents' armies. We are humanity. I wrote that poem after Easter dinner. You know, you have Easter dinner, you're all sitting at the table, and there's grandma and your aunts and your uncles and your cousins, and my mom and my sister were all sitting there, right? And my uncle turns to me, and he says, Katie, you're 26 years old, and you're a lab rat who sleeps on people's couches. You don't even own a car. What do you have to show for your life? Well, I'm like, thanks, Uncle Bob. That's a way to make me feel good. So and it was true at the time. I just started my own organization, More Than Me, and I was giving it everything that I had, and I didn't have any money, so I was doing these medical studies from justanotherlabrat.com, and I was donating my body to science, and they would test drugs on me, and that's the money I was using to start the organization. And because I didn't have anywhere to live, I used couchsurfing.org, and I found people to live with. So he was kind of right, and I didn't own a car. So I was using this money to fund my organization called More Than Me. And More Than Me's mission is to help some of the most vulnerable girls on our planet get off the street and into school. Girls like Abigail. Abigail's one of my friends. She was 11 years old when she started to sell herself because she didn't have a glass of clean water to drink. Abigail had asked me to help her get to school. I was living in Liberia. I had got a job with this amazing organization that sent me over there right after college. And I'm like a big kid myself, so I'm there and I'm making friends with all these kids. And, I was running adult literacy programs, but I'm spending my free time with all these children, and I'm drawing we're drawing donkeys, and I'm throwing naked kids in the ocean, and we're spinning and we're spinning and we're spinning till we fall on the ground. And I would look at these kids and I would say, if you could have anything in the entire world, what would it be? And you know what these kids would tell me over and over and over again? I just want to go to school. Well, I never really liked going to school when I was their age, and I was like, and I started to learn if they weren't in school, they were on the streets working. So I started to put a few kids in school, and then it was too many, and I didn't have enough money to keep putting more and more kids in school, so I would take their picture and I would put it on social media, MySpace, which was cool back in the day, and then Facebook. And people were wiring me money to Liberia, and I was using that money to help some kids. And that's when I met this woman named Erica, and she goes, this stuff, helping these kids is like bleeding out of your pores, and it's pretty cool what you're doing. Why don't you start your own organization? Well, I was thinking about what she said, and I was afraid, and I was insecure. I grew up poor. I was never an Ivy League kid. I struggled to get through college. I don't know if any of you relate with that. I wasn't a trust fund baby. I was like, if I start my own organization, how am I going to pay for my life? And I was afraid, and I was insecure. And I remember telling my best friend, I was like, I don't think I can do it. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not this enough. And he looked at me, and he gave me the best advice in the whole world. He looked me straight in the eyes, and he said, Katie, get over yourself. It's not about you. And that's where the name More Than Me came from. So it's been a few years now, and I remember almost about a year and a half, 2 years ago, the president of Liberia invited me to her house. Like, this really happened. I can't believe it. This woman is like Nobel Peace Prize winner, like first female president in sub-Saharan Africa, and she invited me to her house, and we're sitting there in her gazebo, and she said, "Thank you for your service to my country." And she gave me this bombed-out, looted building in the center of the city, like as I was going to build an academy. And I was like, thank you, And I see the building, and I'm like, well, how am I going to fix this thing up? And, we ended up, finding the money and finding a company to fix it up. And this past September, on my birthday, after 4 years of the we were almost 4 years old, the president and myself, we cut the red ribbon to the building. And the president said right into the camera, she said, the number one way that an American can help Liberia is by supporting Katie Meyler in this initiative. Some of these things, I'm like, this is real. I have to slap myself sometimes because I start screaming, like, is this a dream? And then this past Christmas, I was invited by Chase to be on this national television show that plays all across the country. It was a competition to win $1 million, and I was one of 25 organizations, one of the only females. I was the only female finalist in this beautiful blue dress. I'm standing on the stage, and they reveal that the $1 million winner was more than me, and I almost peed in my dress. And this is really happening. So now we have this school which can serve hundreds of kids, and we're going to make it pay for itself, and we want to do it over and over again. But I'm here to tell you that I'm a living testament, that it doesn't take a superhero or a celebrity to make a difference. It just takes someone who's willing to serve. So I would say to you, go out there and do the thing that you're most afraid to do, because you have to. This world needs you. Thank you.
Is Regina Brown of the More Than Me Academy. I'm 15 years old. I come from the community of West Point. I'm the first female in my family to know how to read.
West Point is one of the most notorious slums in West Africa, one of the most notorious slums in the world. It's one of those places where you walk in and every single one of your senses is attacked, in a good and bad way.
All my ladies, all my ladies.
live in West Point, so I am like familiar with majority of the girl stories.
All my ladies.
One of me help the most vulnerable girls of the street. These girls who have been abused morally, sexually, physically. These are the girls that more than me works with.
We want, when they finish school, that they can decide what comes next for their own lives. So I wanted to start a school, but we're in the center of the capital and we're in the most congested area in the entire country, so there's just no space.
Recently, more than me have made a lot of progress, and I'm very, very excited. More than me want to have our own school. The government of Liberia donated a building. This building will only be used for girls' education.
Up to now, I've seen this wonderful structure standing down here. I can really believe that this happened. And I was like drunk, but not alcohol. I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke. But I was drunk with happiness. Yeah, because I never believed that this could happen.
There's a bigger message that I hope to really share, is really to challenge people. What are we living for, and who are we on a day-to-day basis? You know, living for something bigger than ourselves. And that doesn't mean always helping girls go to school. I mean, it's in the little moments.
Give them an education. That's what this project is all about. To expand Katie Meyer's initiative to as many communities as possible and get all those young girls in school learning to become good professionals.
I'm more